Have you ever been in the middle of a perfectly normal conversation, maybe about the weather or what's for dinner, and suddenly you realize you've zoned out? Not because you're bored, but because a single word sent your brain spiraling down a rabbit hole 3 topics deep? You're nodding politely, you're smiling, but mentally, you are dissecting the existential implications of why we call it dinner in the first place. Why can't I just be here? Why is my mind always somewhere else? If that sounds familiar, you aren't just distracted. You are navigating the complex, often exhausting, and secretly brilliant landscape of the deep thinker. It's easy to mistake deep thinking for just being quiet or introverted, but there is actually a distinct psychology at play here. It's a specific way the brain is wired to process the world, not just capturing information, but metabolizing it, turning it over, and refusing to let it go until it makes sense. Most people see a dot. You see the line that connects it to 5 other dots, but this wiring doesn't look the same on everyone. In fact, deep thinking tends to manifest in a few specific characters. Maybe one of them is you. Consider the first profile, the time traveler. You know this feeling. It's 3 a.m., the house is silent, you should be asleep, but instead, you are wide awake replaying a conversation you had 4 years ago. You aren't just remembering it, you are analyzing the tone of voice, the micro-expressions, the alternative endings where you said the witty thing instead of the awkward thing. This isn't just anxiety. Psychology calls it high-functioning rumination. For the time traveler, the past isn't a closed book. It's a data set that is always open for review. You analyze history to predict the future, constantly running simulations of what if. It's a sign of high cognitive empathy, but it can feel like a curse because your brain refuses to clock out. Then there's the pattern seeker, the person who sees the invisible web. Imagine you're watching a movie with friends. They're enjoying the plot, but you are distracted because you've noticed the color of the villain's tie matches the hero's childhood blanket, and you're trying to figure out if the director is making a commentary on fate versus free will. You aren't trying to be difficult. Your brain just rejects surface-level data. This type of deep thinker scores off the charts in divergent thinking. While most people filter out irrelevant information to focus on the task at hand, your filter is wide open. You let everything in. It makes you incredibly creative, but it also means you get overwhelmed easily. The lights seem brighter, the noise louder, because you aren't just hearing the noise, you're processing the structure of it. But let's pivot to a type that is often misunderstood, the emotional architect. This is the person who feels the weight of the room the second they walk in. You don't just hear what people say, you hear what they don't say. You pick up on the slight hesitation in a friend's voice or the way someone shifts their posture when they're lying. To the outside world, you might seem reserved or even judgmental, watching from the sidelines. But inside, you are building a complex architectural model of everyone's emotional state. This is deep thinking applied to social dynamics. It's not magic, it's hypersensitivity to nonverbal cues. The problem is, because you see the truth behind the mask, you often find shallow small talk excruciating. You crave depth not because you are snobbish, but because the surface feels fake to you. And finally, there's the crisis simulator. This is the friend who always has a plan for the worst-case scenario. While everyone else is optimistic about the road trip, this thinker is mentally calculating tire pressure, weather patterns, and the likelihood of running out of gas in a dead zone. People call you a pessimist, but you know that's not it. You are a realist who has already lived through the disaster in your head 10 times before it even happened. This is a protective mechanism. Your deep thinking is a shield. By thinking through every possible outcome, you're trying to create a sense of control in a chaotic world. It's exhausting, yes, but when things actually go wrong, you are the calmest person in the room because you've already been there mentally. So where does that leave us? If you saw yourself in the time traveler, the pattern seeker, or the emotional architect, you might feel out of step with the world. The world needs people who are content with the surface, sure, but it desperately needs the people who are willing to dive into the deep end, even if it's dark down there. The question isn't how to stop overthinking, it's how to use that massive processing power for something that matters to you. How does this land for you? Did you recognize the time traveler or the pattern seeker in the mirror? Or maybe you have a different way of spiraling into the deep. We're building a community of thinkers here, so let me know which type resonated with you in the comments below. And if you want to understand more about the strange and wonderful wiring of your own mind, make sure you're subscribed, because we're just scratching the surface.